Skip it up and that up. A lot of people seem to misconstrue what I say about digital distribution and cloud gaming. As much as I see it as the future of the gaming industry, it doesn't mean that I'm 100% on board with it, and I do have a lot of grave concerns about games being sold digital only. And if you need a perfect example of what the horrors of digital distribution and cloud gaming could be, Reddit user Flying Officer lost his entire Origin game library. And at least in the beginning, EA didn't seem like they wanted to help him at all. Now, according to OneAngryGamer.net, Flying Officer made a post this past August 10th that his PC Origin account was straight up deleted, and all the games he had in the account were gone. He couldn't get him back. It's like his account never even existed. He desperately tried to get to EA, but EA's technical support, they didn't really do anything for him. He showed them receipts. He showed them a whole bunch of proof that he actually purchased the games via Origin, but since his account was deleted, EA said there was no account history to check, and basically they said, yeah, sad day for you. Sucks, you lost thousands of dollars worth of games. Sorry. Now, due to how absolutely insanely ridiculous it was that a customer of Origin lost their entire PC game library, the post gained a lot of traction and it ended up being on the front page of Reddit, which makes sense. If I lost thousands of dollars worth of games and a corporation wouldn't help me get them back, I would be pretty pissed too, and I'm sure a lot of people wanted to find out what was going on. Now, I did hear that this happens on Reddit quite a bit and has happened in the past. Moderators, who are in the pockets of EA, removed the post to damage control for EA. But people got very pissed off at that, and after a crap ton of complaints, the post about this guy, Flying Officer, losing all of his Origin games was restored. And due to the amount of attention this Reddit post received, especially after moderators tried to take the post down, which just added fuel to the fire, EA eventually had to respond, and a rep said this in a nice long post. I'll echo this sentiment shared by many of you on the thread. No, this isn't acceptable to us that in this particular instance, we haven't been able to directly resolve this issue via our dedicated support teams, and that it's taken an early morning hunt for memes for me to discover this thread, which has since hit the top of Reddit all. I'm grateful that it's providing us the opportunity to rectify the issue, but we will assess everything related to this case to understand why this has happened in the first place, in case it can help prevent similar occurrences for the folks in the future. Please also understand that no matter how this issue gets resolved, I won't be in a position to ever talk about the specifics relating to the account of one of our players. That's not cool. That should never happen. But please respect that these things aren't always what they seem. Which, that last line from the EA rep is interesting. It's almost insinuating that Flying Officer may have done something wrong for his account to be deleted. That's what I'm getting from it, but even still, EA, you can't take away products from somebody that they purchased. Again, I'm just speculating here by the language that was used, but that was real interesting, that last line that the EA rep said. Now, the OneAngryGamer.net article that is discussing this, I'll have a link below in the description. You can read it. It's excellent. Is very well done. It was written by Billy D over there, and I think it's fantastic. But two of the things I take issue with the OneAngryGamer.net article is, well, first and foremost, they insinuate that anyone who is predicting or likes certain aspects of digital distribution are being shills. And I don't agree with that. I see the downsides of digital distribution. I have spoken about them many times in the past, and there are quite a few things I agree with One Angry Gamer when it comes to digital distribution. This whole fiasco with a dude losing all of his games on his Origin account is one of them. But one of the things I like about digital distribution is how convenient it is. I know the downsides, but when you own a Nintendo Switch, it's awfully nice to have all your games just on an SD card. So when you take that portable system with you anywhere, your whole library of games is on the system. That is a very huge positive to digital distribution. It doesn't mean that I'm going to advocate for things like this. When disasters like this happen, This shows the dark side of digital distribution. And beyond companies like EA just making mistakes with people's accounts and making them lose all their games, what happens if EA in the future goes out of business? That could very well happen. What happens to all the digital games that you purchase through EA, through Origin? Where do they go? Do I get my money back? Yeah, okay. Do you think EA is going to give your money back if they go bankrupt? What else is going to happen? Are they just going to keep the servers up simply so I could keep playing the games that I purchased, even though the company is going under? Of course they won't. Maybe they'll do it for like a year or two. Maybe they'll have something in a contract that they could do that. But that's a big problem, man. If you purchase all your games through a service like Origin and they go under, or through PlayStation or through Xbox Live, and any of those companies go belly up, all of the money you spent on games could be wasted, and the library of digital games that you had could disappear. And that's very concerning. And I don't care what is in any of these corporations' contracts that they have in there to protect you. Eventually, they're not going to keep the servers up forever if the company goes bankrupt, and you will lose all of the money you spent on purchasing games digitally, and that's a big problem. The other thing the OneAngryGamer.net article goes into is the first sale doctrine, which is true. Yes, if you own a copy of a game, that gives you the right to sell it, do whatever, to a degree, minus make copies of it, do whatever you want to with it. But on PC, that doesn't really matter. Even if you buy a physical copy of, say, Battlefield 5, that physical copy of Battlefield 5 is going to have Origin as DRM. You're going to get a key along with that physical copy of the game that you're going to have to punch into Origin, and then it will be tied to your Origin account. So the first sale doctrine with that kind of transaction, if you have a physical copy of a game, is null and void. You can't sell that disc because it's tied to your Origin account. So unless you want to sell your entire Origin account, you can't just sell the physical copy of Battlefield 5 anymore, because once you tie it to Origin and the game is in your account, that DVD of Battlefield 5 becomes a coaster to put your coffee on. That's all it's worth. Also, nowadays, whether it be on PC or console, owning the physical copy of a game still doesn't get you away from digital distribution. A perfect example, and I just discussed this, is the Spyro Reignited trilogy. Even if you buy the physical copy for the Xbox One or PlayStation 4, guess what? Only one out of the 3 games is actually going to come on the disc. Both Spyro 2 Ripto's Rage and Spyro Year of the Dragon, you're going to have to download. So even if you're hell-bent on getting the Spyro Reignited trilogy physically, I got some bad news for you. That's not going to prevent anything in the future. If Activision goes under and you have the Spyro Reignited disc, you're only going to have one of the 3 games actually in your possession. The other 2 you have to download, and if Activision servers in the future no longer exist to download the other 2 Spyro games, you are shit out of luck. So I'll end this video by saying 2 things. OneAngryGamer.net, I agree with you. I have grave concerns about a digital distribution / cloud gaming only future. And the disaster that happened with Origin user Flying Officer losing all of his games is a perfect reason why I am very concerned about a digital distribution only future. And 2, to all the companies out there that are very pro digital distribution, whether it be EA or Activision or Valve, Microsoft, so on and so forth, fine. You want us to purchase games digitally? So be it. You're forcing us into this future where we don't buy physical games anymore. But when disasters like this happen, you have to protect us. If you want us to buy our games digitally, you also have to cover our asses. So if we spend thousands upon thousands of dollars investing in your games, you have to put safeguards in place that protect us to make sure we don't lose our huge digital games libraries that we invested years of time and money into. Because even if Flying Officer is the only person who purchased games on Origin that lost all of his games, that's one person too many. It's absolutely unacceptable, and you have to find a way to safeguard us so none of our games will ever be lost and no one will ever lose a single product that they purchased digitally. Because one person losing any of their digital investments is one person too many. And then beyond just digital distribution, let's go into cloud gaming. This is my other concern. I'm hoping and assuming they're not going to make us pay per game via cloud gaming. That would be ridiculous, because you're streaming the games via the cloud, and it's just not practical. You're not even getting the data locally on your hard drive. You're literally streaming the entire experience from a server in a server farm from a remote location. So if all of these different companies, Activision, EA, Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, so on and so forth, want us all to sign up for their digital distribution services for $20 a month, that's going to add up. If you sign up for 5 different digital distribution services, you're going to spend $100 a month on just trying to play all these different games. And I don't know, I'm just not a fan of, paying for a single game just to have the privilege of playing it via the cloud. Even if internet speeds become more than stable enough to handle it, I don't know. They're going to have to find solutions to all this, because these are all grave concerns that should be concerns to the general consumer. But I have a feeling companies like EA and Activision, so on and so forth, are not going to iron out the flaws of digital distribution and cloud gaming before they become the only way we can play games, and they're just going to use us as the guinea pigs to figure out the flaws, and they're just going to figure out the issues on our dime, because they're corporations and they don't care. So OneAngryGamer.net, yes, I've talked about the conveniences and benefits of digital distribution in my videos in the past, but it doesn't mean I don't have the same concerns that you do. A digital distribution only gaming industry is the inevitable future, but they need to figure out a way to make sure that what happened to Flying Officer never happens to anyone else ever again. This is Richard Review Tech USA signing out. Have a good one.